Hey everyone, welcome to Tech Ventures YouTube channel. Hey, let's talk about the benefit of cloud computing, right? So in last video, we understood what is cloud computing, or what are the leading cloud providers, and today let's talk about the benefit of cloud computing. So when we talk about the benefit of cloud computing, one of the benefit of using cloud computing is you can go ahead and deploy your services globally in minutes. Now, what do we mean by that, right? So what happens that when you go ahead and register yourself with one of the cloud providers, maybe Azure, Amazon, or let's say Google Cloud Platform, uh, once you have an account registered, right, you have account set up, you can go ahead and deploy your application globally across the geography, right, in just few clicks, in just few minutes. So for example, consider, right, why it is important. Now, what will happen is when you go ahead and deploy or put your application closer to your end users, that will drastically reduces the latency and improves the end user customer's experience. Now consider you have an application that is running into US region, right? And you have just deployed the instance of your application or services in US region. Now, when a customer from the US region, when they try to access your application or services, for them, the experience will be quite smooth because it is near to them, the traffic and the response from the application would be quite, quick. But consider the same application if someone from Asia Pacific region tries to access that service or application. What will happen is it is going to take some time to get a response from the application which is running on an instance on the US region, right? In that context, what happens, the end user experience will not be good, and that will definitely impact your applications or maybe your customer base, right? So you wanted to make sure when you have a global presence, means you have customers who are present across the globe, you wanted to make sure you put your application, you design and architect your application in such a way that the users, when they try to access this particular service or an application, they are going to get it, get the response from the application instance which is running closer to them. So this is exactly that's the benefit from the cloud, right? What will happen is when you have an account and you have application running in US region, and let's suddenly you see within after 6 months or a year of time, you see you have customer base increasing in Asia Pacific region, and you see that the Asia Pacific region end users will definitely get impacted if the instance is running in the US region. So you can go ahead and use the benefit of cloud computing and quickly deploy your resource, your application or services into an Asia Pacific region. And that will definitely enhance the customer experience in terms of reducing the latency from your application. Now, let's talk about the second benefit of cloud computing, and that is agility. Now, what does agility means, right? So agility in cloud computing refers to the ability to quickly develop, test, and launch application in a cloud-based environment. So what happens is the cloud technologies and the cloud providers, they gives you seamless access to variety of services, and you would be able to go ahead and launch services, deploy services based on your requirement in a very short period of time. And when you are able to do that, what happens is it gives you that agility, the cloud computing agility gives you a freedom to experiment, deploy, and test new ideas to differentiate your customer's experience and transform your business, and you would be able to add value to your customers, right? So that is the concept of agility when we talk about the cloud computing, right? You can quickly go ahead and change, adapt as per the requirement. And that exactly what agility means. Let's talk about the third benefit of cloud computing, and that is elasticity. Now, what exactly the elasticity means? Now, elasticity is the property of the cloud to grow or shrink capacity for CPU, memory, and storage resources to adapt to the changing demand of your organization, right? So, due to this, what happens is you don't have to over provision resources upfront to handle peak levels of business activity in the future. Instead, you provision the amount of resources that you actually need at that point of time. You can scale these resources up or down to instantly grow and shrink capacity as your business needs change. Now, cloud elasticity can be automatic. You don't need to perform capacity planning in advance of the occasion, or it could be a manual process where the organization will get notified that you are running low on some resources, and then you decide that you wanted to add or reduce the capacity when required, right? And when we talk about the cloud elasticity, it is often associated with horizontal scaling, right? And it generally associated with the cloud providers. And what exactly means no horizontal scaling? Now, horizontal scaling means simply means, let's say currently you are running some web application, and the web application is currently hosted on two virtual server, or two, let's say two virtual machines. Now, depending on the traffic that you normally get, the two virtual machines are able to handle the load. But certainly, let's say there is a no a traffic which is hitting your server, and there is a huge traffic that is coming in. Now you see, you based on the cloud monitoring tools, you identified that the two virtual machines or servers are not able to handle that load. Immediately, you go ahead and you can increase the number of nodes or number of virtual machine servers to 4. Now that is scale out, right? And once the traffic has been settled down and it has come back to the normal, again you can go ahead and reduce your number of servers to back to 2. Right? That is called scale in. So in horizontal scaling, we have concept of scale in. Scale in means to reduce the number of resources. Scale out means you increase your number of resources so that it can go ahead and handle the particular traffic or load as per your requirement. Similarly, there is a concept of vertical scaling. Now, what exactly is vertical scaling? When we talk about vertical scaling, it mainly refers to increase or decrease the compute resources, right? Let's say CPU, memory, storage, depending on the traffic, depending on the need, right? So consider you have a virtual server, right? You have a server which is able to handle the load in when there is a normal traffic, and thus currently you have allocated, let's say, 2 CPU and 4 GB of memory to that particular server. But when the traffic increases, you are able to see through the logs, and that the server is getting overloaded, and all the compute resources, the CPU which is 2 and the memory allocated which is 4, has been completely utilized. Now, to make sure it does not affect your application, you can go ahead and increase the number of CPU to 4 and number of memory to, let's say, 12. And once you increase it, your server would be able to handle the traffic, the increase in the traffic, right? So that process of increasing the compute resources to handle your traffic load or traffic peak is called what? Scale up. And similarly, once the traffic has been settled down, you can go ahead and decrease the CPU and memory back to 2 and 4, and that is scale down, right? That is called scale down. Now that is where the vertical scaling and the horizontal scaling, that is the way it is associated with elasticity, right? Elastic means something, right? Let's say we have it is associated with the rubber band, right? When you need it, you can stretch it. When there is no requirement, you can just leave it, it will come back to the normal, right? So elasticity compute no the cloud elasticity gives that flexibility or to you to change change your resources, increase or decrease, grow and shrink your resources according to your requirement and your business needs. And that's exactly what elasticity means in cloud computing. So let's talk about the fourth benefit of cloud computing, and that is cost savings. Now, when we say that the people are migrating from on premises and they are shifting to cloud providers and cloud technologies, cost saving is one of the benefit that is being provided by the cloud computing. So what happens is the cloud providers or the cloud technology allows you to trade fixed expenses such as data center and physical server for variable expenses, and only you pay for the resources that you consume, right? That's pay as you go. Plus, the variable expenses are much lower than what you would pay to do it yourself because of economies of scale. Now, what does that mean? What is economies of scale, right? So, cloud providers save organizations money because they purchase the computing resources in massive quantities at lower cost, right? When companies utilize these shared resources, they avoid the substantial upfront capex cost of purchasing their own expensive infrastructure. That is the concept of economies of scale. Since the cloud providers like AWS, Google, Microsoft, right, they are purchasing compute resources like servers, right, network equipments, switches, firewalls, right? They are purchasing this infrastructure resources in massive quantities from the vendor. So definitely they are going to get that at a very lower cost when we compare it to no to when no to the process of getting it procured from our end, right? So when no this is cloud providers go ahead and get these products, right? When they get these servers compute resources at a very lower cost, obviously when they provide you these services over the cloud, the cost will definitely be lower, right? And the second advantage, what happens is when you go ahead and start moving toward the cloud, you don't have to worry about the capex, right? So you don't have to worry about buying the infrastructure, maintaining the physical data center, maintaining the power, right? Maintaining the AC temperature, or you need to have AC running in the data center to maintain the temperature. So all those costs associated with running a physical data center on premises would be eliminated, right? So what happens is, apart from that, with the change in the with the change in the way the work culture has been moving from remote work, moving to remote work, uh, the cloud technology gives you a flexibility, right, where employees can work remotely, and which definitely reduces the transport, electricity cost, and also other facilities cost, right? Other advantage of the cloud computing when it comes to cost is definitely you don't have to worry about the physical data center maintenance. So consider if you have an on-premises data center running, apart from buying it and running the infrastructure, there will be lots of cost associated in maintenance, right? So there will be multiple teams who will be working on cross verifying and making sure that the power is working as expected. There will be maintenance activity going on from the facilities team. There will be maintenance activities that will be taken care by the IT team. So all these maintenance costs, right, that you don't have to worry about, and it gets eliminated when we move towards the cloud technologies. So that is where, when you start using the cloud technologies, there are multiple ways you will be able to save the money, right? So when you go ahead and start thinking of migrating to the cloud, definitely you need to sit down, brainstorm, and see what are the resources that you feel when you go ahead and move it to the cloud. And when you calculate your return of investment, right? When you calculate no, what would be the impact on the cost in coming 3 to 5 years, depending on that, definitely you can plan that, okay, these are the resources I'm going to run on the cloud. I'll go ahead and migrate it from my physical data center, and you will be able to save a lot of money, right? And that's the way how no, the cloud technologies helps you in saving lots of money. So there are multiple tools when we talk about. So there are cost calculator associated with multiple cloud providers, like Azure has its own cost calculator, similarly GCP, and AWS. So again, when you plan and when you sit and plan and calculate the cost associated for your ROI, you definitely can have an estimated cost calculated using these tools, right? And when you start using these tools, it will gives you a visualization and approximate cost that you are going to save when you try to migrate that, right, from the on-premises to the cloud. You will be able to see how much you are going to save. And again, there are multiple advantages, right? So you don't have to. So in many cases, consider that you are running an infrastructure and you have 5 servers running. So maybe the 5 servers are not completely utilized, but still, since few of the resources are running on each of the servers, you need to have the servers keeps on running. And that is, no, if you'll compare it to the cloud, when you don't need a resource, you can go ahead and you can you can go ahead and shut it down, and again you will be charged only for the cost that is associated or the services that you are utilizing at that point of time. There will be monthly bill. You can go for the yearly billing. You can select that mode, and accordingly you can plan. And when you also, there are multiple ways to save, right? When we talk about the cloud computing, there are different kind of instances, right? You have spot instances, right? You have reserve instances. So these are the multiple features which are being provided, offered from the cloud providers. So you can go ahead and you can choose those resources depending on your requirement, and you'll be able to save lots of money when we compare it to on-premises infrastructure. So that's all about the cost saving. Thank you for joining with me on understanding the benefits of cloud computing. And if you like the video, hit like and subscribe button, and I'll be coming up with similar content. And if you have any questions, any query, please put it in the comment box, and I'll be happy to answer that. Take care. Goodbye.